I agreed most with Domingo's speech on communism versus socialism. His speech was super interesting, and I was not aware of the history of communism. I used to associate communism with fascism, and I feel like I'm not alone in that. Domingo pointed out that communism was good in theory, but not great in practice. This stems from the issue of people being corrupt. People with access to masses of contributing wealth and ensuing free labor have the tendency to become corrupt people. This results in a Stalin-type situation, and it is widely believed that he killed more people over the years in work camps than Hitler did with gas chambers. So clearly, communism can go bad, but it works in some areas. For example, China has a pretty communist approach to society, as well as having capitalist approach to business. This mix has allowed them to become a very important power in the world economy. In fact, they are projected to be the world's top economy very quickly, and are growing exponentially. The United States continually imports massive amounts of products from China every day, and people have a very jaded opinion of Chinese society. And yes, they're destroying their environment, and their products aren't necessarily the best quality, but they are flourishing economically. Americans have a very poor preconceived notion of communism due to McCarthyism and the Red Scare. This time in history marked American hysteria towards a system they really didn't understand and continue to not understand today. People began to associate anything bad with communism, and even their annoying neighbor was now a commie traitor. The way I see socialism is as communism's cooler younger brother. There is less severity of trust that needs to be placed in the government, which, like I stated earlier, can become the problem and corrupt the entire system. People are treated equally in the eyes of the government. This means that there could be less issues dealing with civil subjects like race, education, and elimination of a very rigid class system. There also stands to be benefits in the healthcare and public relations sectors, therefore increasing quality of life as a whole. And economically speaking, the benefits to leaders are not as prevalent as capitalism, so the people on the top tier aren't getting as much money, but the benefits of workers do seem to go up. However, there's still a lot of trust to be put into the government in charge. Socialism is making a bit of a comeback here in the United States, as politicians recently are moving toward it to get away from current policies and the societal backlash from them. A lot of people are associating politicians with some systems that we don't like anymore. People are flocking to it as a means of getting away from capitalism, for example. I do, however, wish people would do a little more research on systems they don't really understand. An example of people not understanding systems is my roommate. I had a really long discussion with her about communism as a result of her not really having any clue of what it meant whatsoever. We were at Cece's Pizza, of all places, having this discussion over a buffet of really subpar food, and she took a very classic American approach and compared fascism to communism. She considered the system to be just absolutely terrible because of people in the past, when in reality, true communism has never been practiced, and unfortunately probably never will be. She equated socialism to Bernie Sanders and really had no clue about it. So, in reality, people starting to move towards this system do need to do a little bit more research, and I do think it's better than, obviously, the past approaches to communism. So, I did agree with Domingo, and I found the speech very interesting.